Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and this is the 2025 version of Subaru's best-selling Forester crossover SUV, however you want to describe it. A lot of you have said in the comments that this looks like a Ford or a Honda, or they've lost their way and this is no longer a Subaru Forester. Well, I'm here to tell you, after really living with this one for over 600 miles, you're wrong. Stay tuned to find out what I mean. Okay, the first thing I want to do is say a huge thank you to Subaru for bringing me this vehicle this week. Many of you know I am the president of the Texas Auto Writers Association, and we just had our biggest event of the year. This was my workhorse. We're going to get into all of that and why I think you're wrong here very shortly. But let's start with what motivates this thing now that we're up underneath the hood. No surprise here, Subarus employ boxer engines. Here we have a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated boxer 4-cylinder making 180 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. Made it to their Xtronic CVT and their very well-known Symmetrical all-wheel drive system with SI drive, X mode, all the typical Subaru things you would expect. And I can tell you from experience, and again, nearly 600 miles with this, it is a fairly good powertrain. It's not excellent, but for what this vehicle is, it's very good. As you can see here, yes, I've put 600 miles on this vehicle. It ain't so pretty right now. We've got a lot of bug guts and road grime, but I do have some glamour shots that I can put on as we talk about this one just a little bit. As we're outside of the vehicle now, I will address the elephant in the room. The biggest comment I get on this vehicle since its introduction is how it looks like this, how it looks like that, how it no longer has that Forester DNA. Forester has always been an odd duck in a sea of sameness. It has had just a little bit more quirkiness to it than, say, RAV4, Honda CR-V, you know, the mainstays of this compact crossover class. And I would say, yeah, some of that has left, but this is still very much a Subaru Forester. I can tell you that from living in it, almost practically living in it for the past week. There's a lot to really like about this one. First, the styling. Yes, this does look a little more watered down. That was intentional. The brand is trying to give this more mainstream appeal, and so it's trying to appeal to a wider audience, and therefore it got a little more mainstream in its design. It did lose a little bit of its quirkiness from prior generations. But as you can see, we still get LED lighting in the form of running lights, headlights, fog lights, but we do have some incandescent turn signals up front. This is the premium trim, not that top touring or anything, but it is still a very nice package all the way around. But yes, this has a little more generic styling, which is made even more obvious as we pan around to the side here. The way I describe the styling of this is it's like somebody took a prior generation Forester. One actually just drove by us here a moment ago. Someone took a prior generation Forester, stuck a straw in it and blew and just kind of bloated it like you would do with an empty Capri Sun and just puffed it up. This just feels like a more puffed up version of a Forester, but there's still some strong Forester DNA in this, most notably that big greenhouse, which we'll get to, especially when we move inside. Moving to wheels and tires, again, this is the premium trim, so we don't get the nicest looking wheels and tires, but I'd say these wheel designs are fairly nice. I mean, they're, again, this is an everyday commuter vehicle, so it works for me. They're 17-inch wrapped in Yokohama Geolandar tires. They are 225/60 R17s, They're nice. They don't communicate a lot of road noise, but again, we'll talk about that when we actually set this thing off in motion. As we look at the profile of this thing, you can see that large greenhouse that the Forester is known for. You can really see in and out of this one very easily. Lots of windows in this, very good visibility and sight lines. And while we're talking about the windows, there are a lot of little Easter eggs throughout this vehicle that I'm going to try and point out to you. We've got a little hummingbird here. We have found 5. I don't know if there are more, but I'll allow you to comment down below and let me know where all of them are, because we had the one in the windshield. We've got 2 back here in the back windows for 2 and 3, and then we've got 1 in the sunroof as well. As we pan around to the back here, you can see we still get roof rails for that rugged SUV-like look. We get this new symmetrical all-wheel drive badge separating the roof from the body line, which has a little bit of chintziness to it. You can move it around, especially in a hot East Texas day. That'll really get to where, yeah, maybe the glue's melting just a little bit. And then as we pan around to the back, you can see we get LED brake lights, but still incandescent turn signals. So there was a little bit of cost savings on this one. You can see we get Forester embossed there on the tailgate. Still a boxy, upright, tall back window design of the Subaru Forester. This is perhaps the most Forester angle of this Forester. Another competitor of it may be that Jeep Cherokee, though that has now departed us as well. As we look down low, we have what looks to be dual exit exhaust, but we only have that one exhaust on the passenger side, but a symmetrical look to that rear bumper. And then we do have a power lift gate, which I really like. That opens up to a very nice rear cargo area. Plenty of room back here, and I can speak from experience. This thing can haul some stuff, like a lot of stuff. I'll go ahead and put on the screen the cargo numbers, but I have been truly impressed with just how much stuff we were able to put in here after our event concluded and leading up to our event. This really has been a workhorse for me. Not only do we have all this space here, but we do have a 60-40 split second row seat, so you can open it up for even more room. And then you even have a false load floor that can lift up. This is styrofoam to help with sound, not communicating a lot of road noise, but you can see the markings of a spare tire. And yes, this foam insert is fairly easy to remove, and there is your spare with all the necessary tools. So plenty of extra storage. You still get a full-size spare. You have some bag hooks here for if you are loading groceries. We've got our sunshade to help hide anything that may be back here, which I really like. You get a little bit of additional power back here, and you'll see this more up front, but we've got some more Easter eggs in this topographical map. We've got a lantern over here, a flashlight, it looks like, no, a telescope over here, but more topographical designs there. Coming to me, I'm 5'10". You can see the hatch opens plenty wide. I'll go ahead and come in and show you. We've got Subaru spelled out on the back. We've got a compass back here on the back. So they're really leaning into this whole adventure theme. You can see you can change how this light works. So if you needed a downlight for your campsite at your tailgate, you've actually got that at the ready, which I really like. If we didn't have the power buttons right here, you could just pull it closed. But I really like that you even on here on this $35,000 model get a power lift gate. Before we get into this one, I do want to show you the key. Typical Subaru key, just like all of their vehicles. It is a proximity key, so you can keep it in your pocket, your purse, wherever you need to. But we do have buttons on here for lock, unlock, your hatch, and a panic button. You can deploy a physical key. It is my understanding that if you've got the app with a potential subscription, that you can remote start it that way, but no remote start on the key fob itself. That is a little bit disappointing. But as I mentioned, yes, it is a proximity key with passive entry. So you just put your hand on the back of the front doors and you can lock it by pushing those lines right there. Not on all 4 doors. So if you need to load a kit up, you're going to be coming to the front door first. Not a big deal, but just something I like to point out. As we look at the door, you can see very nice design. We've got cloth up here with contrasting stitching I really like, but we've got that topographical design here with some boot prints, probably some LL Bean boot prints, but maybe not for legal reasons. But yes, just a little more on the Easter egg front. You can see we get auto up down on the front 2 windows, not on the back 2, your window lockout, your mirror controls and such. These seats, they're cloth seats, but I really like them. Not only is the design very nice, you get multiple colors, textures, designs. They aren't boring. They aren't just black. There's a lot going on here, but there's a lot of give to them. They're very, very well padded. And for the driver's seat, we have multi-way positional with 2-way lumbar. Much like older Foresters, yes, it is still up like on a platform. So they have not lost that Forester DNA. While the whole vehicle may sit lower like a car, you still get that higher seating position here in the seats because much like prior generations, yes, they're still kind of up on stilts. That big greenhouse means getting in is easy. You're not going to bonk your head. It's very easy ingress, egress, even if it is a little bit lower than some of its crossover competition. I've got no complaints there. And while we're on this view of me and the greenhouse around me, you can see just how much glass is in this vehicle. The view out that back window back there, just so much visibility in this. I think that is the hallmark of the Subaru Forester, big greenhouse. And I feel like this exterior design incorporates the big greenhouse a little bit better than prior models. I'm thinking 1st and 2nd generation especially. It looked like windows were tacked onto something much smaller. I don't know, it looked disproportionate. I feel that it works a little bit better here on this 2025 model. I will go ahead and close my door here, put my foot on the brake, push the engine start button and allow this thing to fire up and show you all that we are working with here. Yes, I've been using my washer fluid. I tell you, I've been living in this one. This is real life here. You can see we get real analog gauges, no digital gauges up front, but we do have a digital helper screen here. I've been leaving it running, but in 600 miles, we're getting right at 29 mpg, which is right on the window sticker. So very much appreciate that. But you can see it's a little warm today. So I've been sitting, letting the air conditioner run in between takes, things like that. No head-up display in this one, but this is all very easy to read. Very nice steering wheel. It is fake leather wrapped. I don't think this is real leather wrapped, but we've got some stitching here. All your buttons for your driver assistance, for your radio controls, volume, tuning, all that fun stuff, gap adjustment. It does have some lane centering that you can turn on and off, SI mode, drive, and this. So all that is there. And then a little extra part for the horn so you don't have to lay on right there. Over my left knee, you have your rear hatch button, your brightness control for your gauges, and your rear light back there in the back on the hatch. Very interesting description there, but on, I guess, is out, off is pushed in. There you go. And then I really like the use of materials on the dash. It's not cloth, it's not like this. Yeah, it's a textured 3D effect that just gives some visual interest, and you can actually feel it. It's tactile. So I really like that. We've got some stitching around, we've got a little bit of bright work. It all works very nicely. It's not bland, it's not just a black interior. We do have a full 11.6-inch Starlink infotainment with our dual zone climate controls in the screen as well. Heated front seats, yes, heated front seats. And I can tell you, we are flirting with false fall here in the morning. So on a cool East Texas morning, that's like a nice warm hug. Really like that. It is automatic AC, again, dual zone volume and tuning knobs. Otherwise, you have everything here on the screen. I can hit the home button, and go here. But let's go back to CarPlay. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but I don't know if this is a Subaru thing or an Apple thing, but your targets, your tap points are so small with these little apps right here. I wish they would make a little bit better use of this tall tablet-like screen to give you a better target. I don't know what it is, but your fingers bump this way. They need to make tall, skinny buttons, not just tiny buttons. I don't know. I want better from there, but you can see, yeah, it fills up the screen very nicely. We do have USB-A, USB-C ports down here with an auxiliary, Qi wireless charger with a power button, so you can put items down here without them heating up. A physical control for your CVT, electronic parking brake, a little bit of extra power here, 2 cup holders, which I like, decent storage right here, more topographical map here. Do we have, nope. No Easter egg there. We'll have to pop that door open here in a little bit to see if there's an Easter egg on that one. Decently damped glove box, but it isn't felt lined like that. Plenty of room in there. I already showed you how much headroom I have, but we've got some additional storage up here as well. Large single pane sunroof, another Forester hallmark, so plenty of glass everywhere you look in this. But yeah, no problem with headroom here. Let's pop into that back and see what it's like sitting behind myself at 5'10" before we set off on the road. I showed you earlier, this does not have the passive entry on it, so you'll need to make sure the doors are unlocked before you get to it. But I can show you down here, we've got paw prints. So both back doors have paw prints, both front doors have boot prints on them, because again, Subaru loves animals. More storage in the door here. Big little cubby here for storing items, and then a repeat of the materials and design of the seats back here in the back. Really like that. You can see we've got a strap here for reclining, lower latch points for both outboard seats, a single spot for the innermost seat. You're gonna have to steal from the passenger side if you need both, but I do like that they give you an additional one. Maybe you can loop both onto that, but absolutely follow all manufacturer suggestions on that. Again, nice use of materials back here. I really like this cloth, is really nice and premium. A couple cup holders there in the middle. I did mention this is a 40-20 or 60-40, there we go, split fold seat. I do wish this 40% were on the passenger side where we keep Tucker usually, but you can see a nice, fairly smooth transition from seat back to rear cargo section, and there. Lock it into place. Coming and sitting behind myself, there are a lot of things I really like back here. First of all, the seating position. I'm sitting up a little bit higher than I was, but I have got tons, just tons of room behind myself. This is like a much larger vehicle here in the back seat. Really love the rear seat space. And then we do have dual map pockets here with a spot kind of sewn in. So that is for your phone, that's for your tablet, that's for anything else. Same is true behind the passenger seat. Get USB-A and USB-C back here. No heated rear seats, but that is an option on upper trims. We get a little bit of airflow back here from these air vents, nothing in the ceiling, but that is common in this size class. Our third seat belt actually comes from the ceiling and attaches down here if you need it. If you want to see what it's like putting in Tucker's child safety seat, be sure and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because Holly and I do a full review of this for our family life, and she gives you her thoughts and opinions. Coming to me, just like up front, plenty of headroom, though a little bit less than that because I am sitting up a little higher. It's a little stadium-like seating, but this seat, this is like a couch. It feels very comfortable. It's got a nice level of firmness, but just enough give. It's very comfortable. I could ride forever back here. Again, I've put over 600 miles on this one, and these seats are supremely comfortable all the way around. Really, really like it back here. But yeah, that's about it. Let's hop behind the wheel and see how this thing drives. Putting it into gear with this mechanical selector here, I will go ahead and mention, I didn't really go into just how much I love these seats up front. I really love these seats up front. These are so comfortable. It is perhaps the biggest selling point to me, outside of Subaru EyeSight and all the visibility and the safety precautions that the brand prides themselves on. This has been a very comfortable vehicle, and as I told you from that back seat, really comfortable seats all the way around. Surprised with just how much room Subaru was able to cram into this vehicle. It is impressive. It's a feat of wizardry, I do believe. Witchcraft wizardry? Some Harry Potter magic going on? I don't know. Maggie Smith, may she rest in peace. As we come up to a road where I can get a little bit of acceleration, we're going to see what the CVT is like. I mean, it gives you simulated gears, but it's really smooth in its approach. It could be a little droney, I would say, but that's what happens when you keep a gasoline-powered engine in its power band. You want to keep it right at the sweet spot of that RPM range. Well, that means it's just going to hold it there. And the CVT is going to do the rest. As far as CVTs go, it's not my least favorite. I don't know that I have a favorite. It's not offensive for what this vehicle is. You aren't going to be racing this. It's not what this is for. This is a commuter. And in my 600 miles in this, I've been pleasantly surprised. It has done everything that I've asked of it. Even when this thing is loaded down with so much weight, those rear springs were screaming a bit on me. They weren't too happy, but this is just an incredibly popular vehicle for Subaru. So I don't think a lot of the buying public thinks that this engine powertrain combination is too bad. I mean, I'm looking at a Subaru Forester right now. Someone passed by me while I was filming this. These are literally everywhere. And spending a week with this one, I can see why. Alluded to earlier, the price of this one, this being a premium, only has a couple of options on it that take the price point up from that entry level, but we're right at $35,000 on this one, and I'm pleasantly surprised with what you get. You get your 11.6-inch Starlink. Sure, you only have a backup camera in this one, no 360, but I like the heated seats. I like the dual zone climate. I like the fact that you have a massive sunroof. Get a lot of luxuries, including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I haven't really wanted for anything while I've had this vehicle. Is it built specifically for me? No. I like loud, fast things, but would it work in my lifestyle, in my current situation, in a pinch? You bet it would. And to find out a little bit more about that, again, hit the subscribe button down below and ring the bell, because Holly will be behind the wheel in our next video. I'll be in the passenger seat and Tucker will be in the back. We'll let you know our full thoughts as a family in this one. All right, I'm in its natural habitat, stop and go traffic at a red light. I'm not gonna rev this one or floor it to get by. I'm just gonna show you what normal acceleration is like. Get a little engine noise, but it's plenty of peppy. Sure, those power numbers seem a little low, but even when this thing was loaded down, it still moved and scooted very well. I am not disappointed, though I'm not just overly impressed with the powertrain either. It all works just fine. As I mentioned earlier, those 17-inch Yokohama Geolandar tires do communicate a little bit of road noise, but that's a little bit to be expected in this competitive set. At $35,000, I know vehicle prices are getting a little high, but this is about what you would expect for that kind of money. And yes, I am currently on slightly higher texture pavement, which is kind of common down here in Texas. Though, when it switches to smoother pavement, a little bit better isolation from the road, I would say. We're not getting a whole lot of wind noise in this, so it is fairly comfortable. Tucker rode to Dallas with me in the back, and we were able to hold conversations at any speed in any situation. Unlike the noisiest Subaru product I've ever been in, and that would be the BRZ/Toyota GR86, this is completely livable. The interior noise is not offensive whatsoever. It's just noticeable, if that makes sense. I already touched on the visibility in this, lots of it. It's really good. My view out the back window, I can see the entirety of the Dodge Hornet back behind me. Plenty of visibility. Nothing was sacrificed in the sake of visibility in this vehicle. I do believe the pillars are as thin and upright as possible. They really wanted to make sure you could see out of this vehicle. and it works. Otherwise, the steering is light, not overly light, not heavy by any means whatsoever. It's very easy to pilot. Though I will note, on our trip to Dallas, it was a very windy day. This vehicle is prone to be blown around fairly easily, but this does have lane keeping that is activated when you have its adaptive cruise control set. So the vehicle was trying to help a little. I don't know if it was helping or hurting, if I was fighting it or the wind, but it does have that feature for you if that is something that you desire. Again, visibility is really good in this, but we'll pull out into traffic here. I mean, for a commuter, it's got the right amount of power. I'd always want more, like turbocharge that sucker, make me happy. But yes, this is a completely livable vehicle. I've been more than impressed with it and have really enjoyed my time with it. Am I going to be brokenhearted to see it go? No, because we've got something fun coming next, to which you will want to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Follow along with us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, you name it. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com. But as for me, in the 2025 Subaru Forester Premium, Symmetrical, all-wheel drive, and all that good stuff. Until next time, gearheads, bye.